Lincoln Riley was asked about the cost of the current football, college football marketplace, and the rising cost of rosters and all this stuff. And here's what he
Yeah.
had to say about it.
Definitely going up. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, there's a lot of things that are going up right now. Schools are having to decide, how much they really want to invest, and fortunately, we're at a place right now that's serious about football and serious about winning, and so yeah. I mean, listen. I've just become. We've been so used to change that like our job is just to adapt and do the best we can here at SC. And do I have some personal feelings about it? Yeah, I'm sure everybody does in some form or fashion. Solutions aren't easy right now. And I think, yeah, we're in the middle of just massive changes. And at some point, like when all this settles, we'll all look back and see that we're kind of in the middle of it. And things will continue to evolve and change and get better. But I think we kind of all know what it is right now, at least, right? It's more defined than it's ever been. I think everybody understands kind of the playing field right now. And yeah, I mean, I think the progress that we made kind of off the field in those first couple of years, now looking at how this has evolved, not only was it important, it was absolutely vital. Had some of those things not happened here, we wouldn't be in the position that we're in right now.
Segs, vital, and I'm assuming that Lincoln's referring to vital, the commitment from NIL and to be able to. I don't want to say he's saying it, but in truth, Segs, what we're doing, not just the Trojans. When I say we're as an alum, I'm not even speaking. I'm talking about what we're doing in college sports, and it's proven, just like it's just on a different level, but still matters the same, than what you've seen the Yankees over the years and the Dodgers. The wealthy programs, the wealthy organizations that are willing to spend are always going to have a chance to contend, because there's two things I know athletes want in the world. They want to get paid and they want to win a championship. And it depends on what order it goes. And once you win a championship, you want more money. If you won the championship before you got your big contract, then you want to get yours that way. So he's right, it has changed in order to keep up with other people that are committing to it. But at the price of what at some point? We do need regulation, which I know we're going to get to. And it was important for USC with all that money for them to buy in. I think the question moving forward is, how often can universities continue to do this? I understand, Segs, when they put an annuity on the program and you say, like when I was at the end of my time there, after I went back, they'd have, you have an alumni that just sponsors the quarterback position for the rest of its life, right? Put enough money in there that it just covers it as it keeps going forward. But how long, in truth, in a time when the education in sports and losing programs and gaining programs, and the price of salaries for players and coaches and all this, how long can a non-regulated NC2A? Yeah, is it good to play the players? Yes, but we're out of hand now. We've gone the other extreme. How long can schools that aren't USC, that aren't somebody that's got alumni, that Texas Tech has jumped into the fray and it took them a while, how long? It's like clothing or anything else, sustainable. Is this sustainable? It wasn't sustainable the other way, and it's not sustainable this way, which somehow you got to meet in the middle like we always do, or like we should try to do. I just, with SC, and it was needed to keep up with the big boys. But at some point in time, when are we ever going to go 180 degrees back the other way and start back downhill towards the way it was a decade ago, and then work our way back up slowly and have a stopping point and say, okay, this is where it's at, which I think President Trump's trying to do with this. So with USC, it was needed, Segs. But if you're Lincoln Riley, I feel like there's a tone in his voice that understands what college football and NIL and all that are about, the portal. How do we keep up with it? But while we're there, what are we going to do to sustain it with our program? And it's not just about money, because you can have all the money you want. If you got bad coaching or players that leave all the time and too much turnover, guess what happens, Segs? The program will cease to exist the way it's supposed to, and that's being in contention every year. But that goes for a lot of the powerhouses. I just wonder what's going to happen with those who don't pay if this keeps up and we don't get this regulated quickly.
They'll just become the Miami Marlins. They'll just become, there will be a team like, say, the Tampa Bay Rays, who, remember, they never spent money, but they were very good at developing. And there will be those type of teams. There will be the teams that just refuse to spend, like the Marlins, the Pirates. And, yeah, maybe every once in a while they'll jump up and bite a really good team, or they'll jump up and be in a college football playoff. But other than that, it's just, we're just going to have teams that don't spend, that aren't any good. And then we'll have the teams like at the top that will spend a bunch of money. And those will be the teams that we see in the college football playoff basically year after year after year.
Do you think that there's any chance? I was mulling this over. Will kids, are they going to be willing to go back to the way it was?
Well,
airports, Segs. Remember when 9/11 hit and all that? I'm not comparing sports to 9/11. I'm just talking about the way that things changed at airports. I don't even remember what it was like beforehand, and I flew all the time.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, I can't remember. Did we take our shoes off? No, we didn't. Did you walk through with your phone in your pocket? I couldn't remember.
Right.
And so with this on a lesser scale and a far less important, but still important in the terms of sports and kids and NIL and recruiting and schools and education, all those things, and moving forward with great leadership, can we go back? Can we go back? Because they're kind of with the presidential order, Segs, with this executive order, kind of going back to 5 years. You get one free transfer. We got to regulate the money. It starts to go back to kind of look like a trumped up, no pun intended, version of what I was under, but a dumbed down version of the way it used to be. Does that make sense?
Right.
With some few changes, right? So I think we still want to grab some of the old school parts of recruiting where a good recruiter can still win, and keeping kids a little bit more. You just can't up and run from trouble. You got to learn how to face adversity and compete too. Well, listen, you just sold 4 million jerseys. You deserve to get paid, without you making more money by 4 times than the coordinator at your school. You see what I'm saying? Somewhere along the line, I just don't know, Segs. Can you go back to a 2-carat diamond ring from a 10-carat diamond ring of these kids? Or the truth of the matter, do we give a shit what they think, and they're just going to have to deal with it?
I think the one thing that helps college in what you're asking and what goes with this executive order and everything is it's the turnover of the kids. So yeah, you're going to have a very small group of these college kids that maybe experience both, where, it's like, oh, we could do whatever we want, to then now there's regulation. Now we can't transfer as we want. The money's regulated in terms of how we get it, with just not a free for all. But then 2 years later, it's all new kids, and they never experienced the old way. You get what I'm saying?
But their older brother did, and their dad did. Does that make any difference to them?
I mean, yeah, sure. But eventually, you just got to accept it. It's just like, you got to accept the way NFL was when you were, what was it?
No doubt.
$5 million was the biggest salary or whatever. Let's just say now it's $65 million. So it's just, you kind of just got to deal with it the way it goes. Right? And And I think it helps college sports with this executive order and stuff, that the turnover is so great. It's not like it's a player that is a rookie is like, damn, I just missed this window and now it's regulated and I missed the whole thing. Well, those guys are going to be gone. Then they can still go to the NFL and make more money if they're really good.
You know what else? You know who it's going to be tougher on, Segs? The athletes will, because you'll just get to a point where they do take it or leave it. Where you're playing here, you can only transfer once. If you don't want to play, you go find something else to do and go get an education. Have your parents pay for your own education, since you don't want to come on scholarship to play here. Whatever it is. I'll tell you who's going to have a harder time with it, Segs. Even though there's plenty of coaches who don't like it, that are a little more, let me recruit the way that I'm supposed to. You sit here and compete and battle your way through difficult. The guys who've been through it or watched their dad coach it, and I think that most coaches do not like what's going on, Segs. They'd like an adjustment of it. But the smart ones adapt in favor of it now, because the rules tell you can.
Yeah.
If you got it and you're trying to recruit more money from alumni, says I need another $500,000 for this player or for these 2 recruits. I think it's going to be tougher on the coaches, because I think what's going to happen, Segs, we hear recruiting. Guys like Saban get out because you lose that edge of recruiting, even though you're the best in the world. You don't want to beg some 17-year-old to come and you're making more than my defensive coordinator. What? And then, but to go back now, some of these guys have got so into it and immersed themselves so much into, here's how we stay. Alumni are taking care of it. I don't have to get out and watch a game as much. I just need to offer the kid more money. I hate to say it, but that's where we're at. And I think the coach is going to wake up one day and say, damn, it was a great equalizer. Now they've kind of taken the equalizer away. My rich alumni don't have the same impact as they would have when we started with this NIL and transfer portal thing. What do I do? And I think they're going to have a hard time adjusting to this at times, Segs. And I fully believe that. I do. And I'm anxious to see where it goes once, an executive order and they say, oh, no, we're turning back the clock a little bit. So you got to readjust. And how are you going to do that? And what's the focus of the program and the development of the program? And can you take a 3-star and make him a 4-star? All those things that I'm sure they think about, but you've taken away advantages that some old school coaches have. And then you put some stuff in a play. You're like, they're spending more money than this school that seems to have more money. It's just the commitment from alumni, but then you got to go back and make sure you're still coaching it and teaching it. So I just wonder the impact on a coaches. Will they be able to go back? Not just the players. The players are just going to, you keep competing, you do it. And if you don't want, we'll move on. But the coaches, have you got too comfortable with the fact that now it doesn't really take me to recruit? I just got to offer more money than the next guy, and there's a good chance I'll get the kid.
Yeah.
I think that's going to have to come into play. I do.
It feels like, and this is something I've read about, and I don't know that we've ever really talked about it on this show, but it feels like we're at the point where it's either got to change to where we're talking, where, you get one free transfer. That's it. You can transfer as a graduate transfer, but you only get your 5 years, if that comes into play. You get 5 to play 5 now. So you got all these little things. But does a school, I mean, if you're the University of Michigan, let's say, or the University of Southern California, USC, and a big donor, Larry Ellison for the University of Michigan, his wife is a Michigan alum. He's donated a lot of money to the NIL collective there at the University of Michigan. What if he comes and says, I want to buy the football team, or I want to buy the athletic department, and I will fund everything, but now I need 70% of ticket sales. So, this and this and this, when does that happen? I've been kind of waiting for that, but nothing's really come of it. And I don't even know the rules to it. I don't know the laws to it, but what stops a school from creating a partnership with a guy like Larry Ellison or Jeff Bezos, whoever that wants to come in and do it, and they fund it, but then they're also getting money back from the school in terms of ticket sales, concessions,
Nothing.
All kinds of stuff.
And the fact that we don't know the rules on it means they don't, and say that should tell. That's a tell that if it's a free for our NIL transfer portal. What would stop a guy today, like you said,
right,
or a venture capitalist group?
Yes,
a VC group from coming in. A lot of times when you're building a business and VCs want to buy, you're like, I don't want to sell it to you now because they want most of the business. You're like, well, let me go through the friends and family version of this and I'll get back to you. Well, if you're Larry Ellison or the Fluor Corporation from my school or one of these big donors that come out of these major universities say, you know what, I want my name on the building, and I'm gonna donate $500 million a year, which guys like Larry Ellison can afford because they're making that in interest every 6 months. 500 million. Oh man, he made 600 million last year. Yeah, in interest because he's got $6 billion sitting in an account that's of course. So you do that, and in whatever tax deductions or whatever tax you get, and you say, but here's the deal. I may not be the athletic director or the head coach, but I will make decisions. And for $500 million a year, you got no choice. If you're the board of directors or regents of that school, and let's say it's all legal, what would stop you? Because you're thinking about what, Segs? Bean counter, bottom line. What can help our school grow? And then he says, and you could take 100 million of it and stick it into the academic or art department or acting, whatever it is you want to do. I would imagine that nothing's going to stop them. But the reverse of that is, I understand getting a piece of it, Segs. It's like investing 20% and you get in early and you get the, it's like, damn, I got this at a discount. And now when it turns around and sells, 20% of $4 billion is a pretty good investment for some rich alum. Said, damn, that's pretty cool. So maybe like NFL franchises, the university's prices continue to rise too. Just like, hey, you invested in a franchise in the NFL, you're getting your money back. Your ROI will be through the roof. But Segs, the other side of that, with these NIL and these kids, at what point in time on when we talk about if it reverses and these guys start to get it, I know this. I don't care how much money you make. Billionaires like Warren Buffett, like you mentioned, Larry Ellison, like I mean, Elon Musk, these guys who have this kind of money, Bezos, they didn't get it by losing $2 and $3 billion. That's not how they made their money. Matter of fact, most of them can tell you where their first $100 went and where they spent on their what they spent at dinner the other night to the dime, because that's they know what the difference between being rich and wealth. Rich people can earn a lot of money. They don't know how to keep it. Wealthy people know that they took these steps, and they may be driving like Warren Buffett, the same truck he's been driving for 30 years. Yeah. Point is, they're brilliant. And they know how to make money, and they know how to keep money. I've given you guys $100 million for 5 straight friggin' years. And that player right there, if he's not playing, why? If he is playing and sucks, I want to know why I'm not getting the return on my investment, because an 18-year-old's not moving product for me. Well, of course he's not. He's not. His name's not Taylor Swift. Okay, so I just wonder on the other side, when we're talking about how far does this go, when you find, I know this, if I'm a billionaire, I'm a giver, dude. I'll try to make everybody's life better. I don't need all that money. Hell, I can't spend the interest on $1 billion. I wouldn't be able to, nor would I have any interest in it, because I still like some challenges to say, oh, I can just go buy that with money. Well, let me just get my elbows dirty. We like the security, but I still like to stay involved. Right. But I know this, Segs, if I keep giving you money and you keep coming back to me saying, I need more, that's just not working. And eventually I'm going to say, I love you, brother. What do you need me to do to help you? But as far as this investment goes, shut this shit down. I'm not keep giving $100 million a year in order to keep losing. That's not how I became a billionaire. So regardless to the level, whether you're a $50,000 investor or a $500 million investor, at some point in time, if you're not getting ROI, only one team wins a national title, Segs. Only one. There's a whole bunch of other schools that didn't hang banners this year that cannot be happy with their return on their investment. They just can't be, whether it's investment in a coach. So I think there's a lot of layers to this, but if they don't get it regulated soon, eventually the NC2A is going to face a union, as we talked about, and it's going to be a lot more difficult. Right now, you got to change it. But you make a good point. If you're the richest alum in USC and you want to control the whole thing and you think you know more sports than the athletic director, what's the best way to control what goes on in the program? Give them a lot of money.
Yeah.
With a lot of stipulations. Well, you want my $1 billion for the next, I'm worth $100 billion, but I'm going to give you $500 million for the next 25 years. What a gift that would be for the athletic director, right? And if you don't, but here's the stipulations. Well, eventually, guess who loses their job? It ain't the guy who gives you the money. It's everybody else. And if the guy who gives you the money tired of giving you money, then it can only go one way. It would have to be reverse, Segs. I just don't know how people keep up. I just don't. You can't keep up charging $10 for a gallon of gas.
No.
Eventually, that's why people argue it's got to go down, or for buying eggs or whatever. It's no different in the college education system, if that's what we want to call it now, the sports system. And people love sports. They'll keep giving until they keep losing all their money. So where does that line get drawn?
Yeah, it's something that we're just going to have to follow as Trump is set, and then we'll learn more about it. And we talked about Tommy Tuberville and what he's trying to get past, which is kind of part of this whole thing. So we'll see where it goes. We'll follow up here as it's signed, and the more we learn about